So we haven't drove her around for a while. I haven't uploaded a video in a while, but that's because I ran into a little bit of an issue here. My last video was a transmission transmission service, and I don't know if you can tell, but underneath here there's no transmission now. So my torque converter went out. It killed a bunch of all the clutch pads inside. No fluid was able to get from the torque converter back and lubricate everything, so she's just been sitting collecting leaves and stuff while I've been doing a bunch of research. So I'm going to the garage and we'll check out what we got in there. And there it is, transmission, and there's the culprit of the bomb torque converter. So excuse the gnarly mess in the garage. I haven't cleaned it in a while, but I did hook up a TV so I can watch football and play with the transmission. So yeah, so there's a bomb torque converter. It took a crap on me, so I'll have to order one of those special. I'm actually gonna call around and see if Napa's got it, because they I have to order it special from O'Reilly's, and I gotta pay for shipping and the part, and it's kind of a pain. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the bell housing off and transfer case off and just get started on this bad boy and see where this thing gets us, huh? Alright. Another thing about this video, just so you know, it's not gonna be super informative, I don't think, because you can see I've already pulled the transmission. If you don't know how to pull the transmission, this is for the front drive shaft that goes up to your differential. That's for the rear drive shaft to go back to your rear differential. You got to take those off. Your linkage is very simple. It's like a bolt right there under linkage. You got to take your shifter out for your transfer case, unplug any unnecessary or crazy cannon plugs that are on there, like these guys and stuff, and then the bell housing bolts that mount it to the motor. And it pretty much comes down once you get the cross member out of there that's holding it up. So, and your cross member just bolts in right here on both sides. So that's how you pull a transmission. I did drain it before I pulled it, so that way there's no fluid in it. It was as heavy and it wasn't going to make a crazy mess, but there is still going to be fluid in there when I pull it apart. That's what the tarp here is for, because it's probably going to be extremely messy. So I also found 2 YouTube videos on the YouTubes of a guy that's 100% tearing one of these things down and 100% rebuilding it back together, because I have no idea what I'm doing here. I did a lot of research, but still, once I crack this transmission open, I'm really not sure what to expect inside of there. I did go on Rock Auto, and I got this bad boy here, this set. And for some reason it came with 2 filters, I don't know why, but it's kind of cool because this one, I don't know if you can tell, is a little bit chewed up here, like bent. I don't know, but this one's good. And then a whole crap ton of parts and seals and gaskets and a new band. And like I said, I'm really not sure what to expect in there. I'm a little bit intimidated by the amount of pressure plates and clutch pads and everything else that's coming with this thing. So we'll see how this turns out, but for now I'm gonna just continue prepping the garage, get everything ready, get that transmission on the tarp, pull the bell housing and T-case, and just start going to town. So it's another reason I got the fancy new TV up here. It's just a 32-inch I scored off of Amazon or Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, that's gonna have a YouTube video up there on how I'm gonna redo this, probably. probably for the most part. But anyway, I'm gonna put some gloves on and then we'll just go to town on this thing. So before anything, very quickly, I just put the shifter back on the top of the T-case, so that way if it rolls or something when I take it off the transmission body, it won't spill all the gear oil out of there. I will probably just replace all the gear oil in there anyways, because all these parts are gonna be new inside. New torque converter, new fresh oil. Might as well just completely redo the whole system, right? So that's the game plan, but I still don't want it to spill, so I put the shifter back on top of the T-case. That way we just don't make a bigger mess than we need to. So there we go. Okay, so belt housing is pretty simple. It's like 5 bolts that hold it on there, and it's kind of foolproof to put it back on. There's 2 17s on the bottom, and then 4 14s that hold it on the top, so I guess it's 6 bolts. And then for the transfer case, it's these guys right here. This one, there was one here, but it was holding this bracket on for your sensors, for like speed sensors and stuff for these clips. But it goes around, and then there's another bracket here that holds that clip on. So just slowly taking these out, and then we'll get the T-case off and out of the way, and then we'll just have the transmission body here, and then we can take this housing off on this side, and then we should be able to start cracking this thing open and making a mess. So progress. All right, T-case off. I don't know if you guys noticed, I got this little guy, a little furniture dolly thing, but I had the T-case on the furniture dolly, and then I was resting the oil pan on a 2x6 piece, so that way once I get the bolts out, I could just pull them apart and then roll this guy out of the way. So that's out of the way now, and we just start the teardown process on this bad boy. So it's definitely going to be a process. First process I'm going to do is get that oil pan off though, because I do not want to bend or crack or break the dipstick line, the tube right there. So here we go. Alright, so pulling this apart, got the housing off and everything, got the oil pan off, got the filter off, got all these parts out. That cover plate for the spline that goes into the torque converter there. This guy, and then all the pieces in line after. Overdrive brake assembly, all the pads, filter. Oh, it's all the way torn down. Like I said, I'm not going super in depth because I really have no idea what I'm doing. I'm following another YouTube video, but that's it. And if you look inside all the pieces, I already took them apart, but there's pads and plates and stuff, so. Alright, so reassembly, we already got a couple pieces in there. Gonna put this snap ring in that holds those pieces in, and then all this is going back in order to take it out, but can't figure it out. So if you notice, there's not very many parts left here because they're all in here now. I'm watching this YouTube video on the TV of this guy putting it together. It's like an 8-piece video, and this one, I think I'm just one clutch pad from dropping in to where it needs to be, because the next step is the pump, and it's just sitting literally this far off. Like, it's just the surface of it. Just gotta drop in basically. So I think we're one clutch pad off, and we just gotta get her in there just a little bit further down, drop, so everything can get in, but all the bearings are in place and everything is perfect, it seems like. So everything, brand new band right there, all of it. So
Let's see how it goes. Once we get this pump on the top, we put all these little accumulators back in. I got them lined up where they're supposed to go. And for the band right there, to tension the band, those are some old parts that I didn't toss yet. And then we should be good from there. Got new filters and stuff. So we'll see how this works out, but it's just that close to, literally that close to dropping in place. So that way we can get it, but we're playing with it, figuring it out, and slowly we'll have a transmission rebuilt here. Hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow. This is day 2 of the process, so it's going. It's just a slow go, but it's going. So transmission rebuild day 2. This is awesome. Okay, I'm back at it, and I don't know if you remember, this has been a few days now, this pump wouldn't fit all the way on. It was not right, correct? So I had this bearing right here, right? That way everything rolls smooth. Well, this bearing was inside of there. I had them backwards. So now, when you put this bearing in, has a little bit of space right there for this shaft to go down in. Now everything sits a little bit deeper. I feel defeated. That was stupid. Okay, so everything should fit perfectly. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put all this together. So should be good to go now. All right, it's super windy today, so I'm trying to stay behind the truck to keep the wind out of the camera, but we're done. The transmission is in. I know I did kind of a shitty job of filming. I didn't really record everything, but there she is. Transfer case, trans, all of it. Linkage assembly, shifters, all that stuff's in. It was a process. The fluid filling it through the dipstick is very, very slow, and going through all the tedious little things like hooking up the cannon plugs and the wiring harness and all that stuff. But she's all set and drives like a champ. I drove it last night just around the neighborhood and stuff, went through all the gears, and then hit the overdrive gear, hit the overdrive button, make sure it shifts back down and up, and then took it to work today, drove it through on the freeway at higher speeds and stuff. So it's pretty bitchin' that I actually rebuilt the whole transmission, and I'm pumped about it. Like super accomplished, feeling definitely accomplished about it. And like I said, I know I didn't really record too much as far as the whole process of it, but I will leave the links of the videos that I use for the teardown and the rebuild process in the description, so that way if you guys decide to do it or whatever, you guys have something to go off of, because that's what I did. I just went off of that. And then I will also leave a link for the rebuild kit that I did too. So I guess that's it, man. I didn't really run into any issues aside from that bearing, and yeah, but I did want to show you guys something else too. So let me check this out. The torque converter. So I ended up getting with a guy up in, I don't know, it was about an hour and some change away drive, and he had this 2-wheel drive. He's like a Toyota guy. He definitely buys and tears off parts and sells parts, used parts on Toyotas. So it's a pretty cool deal. He's a little pricey with some things, but this whole transmission for a 2-wheel drive only ran me $150 from this guy, and it came with the torque converter and everything. I only needed a couple parts off of it, but he wasn't going to go down on price for it because of those parts. So I just bought the whole thing and figured I could try and sell the transmission. It only has 190,000 miles on it or something like that, or 140,000. I don't remember what he said, but I just needed the torque converter, and I needed right here on this shaft is a neutral safety switch, which connects all the way through the transmission to your linkage for your shifter. So that's what I needed because I smashed mine, and that's the switch right there. That's the one I smashed, you can see. So I needed that switch from him, and I needed a torque converter, and so yeah. But the torque converter itself, I was worried about 2-wheel drive versus 4-wheel drive transmission and the splines, because the splines on it right there, there's two different models, 20 and 26 spline. The difference for the splines is not for 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive models. The difference for the splines is between 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder engines. So just so you know. But yeah, that's about it. Got it all built and wrapped up, and on to the next thing. See what it is. Thanks, guys.